Konnichiwa, Gamerinos and Gamerinas. Welcome to UnicornStorm. This is Rady, and today I'm taking a look at Shashingo. Shashin meaning to take a photograph, and go meaning language, like in Nihongo for Japanese, or Eigo for English. Instead of letting us talk to photographs though, it's a Japanese language learning game. And a really cute one at that. And, well, to be honest, the photographs are talking to us. So I guess it is about the language of photographs.
Eki.
The game has you walk about in a small fictitious district of a Japanese city highly inspired by Tokyo's Shibuya district. Though it's more like an amalgamation of iconic spots condensed into this little playground. While strolling around the city, you can take photographs of everything that seems interesting to you. Buildings, signs, plants, random objects. And most of what you snap a picture of rewards you with a flashcard, telling you the Japanese name of whatever you photographed in kanji, as well as in the Japanese syllabic alphabet hiragana, and also in the syllabic alphabet reserved for foreign languages, katakana, at least where it applies.
Neko.
Now, as a massive fan of everything Japanese, the country, the traditions, the language, the pop culture, this is definitely the game for me. I'm actually attending a Japanese language course and can read hiragana as well as katakana, albeit a bit slowly, and I can recognize a handful of kanji. And while I barely have the conversational understanding of a tourist, my Japanese vocabulary isn't all that bad, so I know a lot of the words and phrases presented in this game already. Not all of them, not by a long shot, but enough to get going in this game rather quickly. But what do you do in this game? As I've said, you take pictures and collect flashcards of new words you discover. And you can test your knowledge by entering Find mode, where the game presents you a word and you have to take a picture of the corresponding object.
Pan. Kuruma. Toro.
So when it comes to gameplay challenges, this game is more of a word memorization game than an actual language learning tool. Not that the game pretends otherwise. It actually tells you at the start that playing this game isn't enough to learn Japanese, but it is a good supplementary exercise. The one challenge the game offers right now is a pretty good way to help you memorize a bunch of Japanese words, just because it stimulates different parts of the brain, with you getting to listen to the pronunciation, read it in both Romaji and whatever Japanese alphabet applies, look at a visual representation of it, and have the whole left and right side of the brain and hand-eye coordination thingy going on, just by virtue of this being a game you have to control. Not to mention that the act of memorizing where something is in the game world and creating mental connections on that assists in the learning of the vocabulary. But there is a bit more to the game. You can flip each flashcard over to get a small selection of somewhat related words or phrases. These might be adjectives, for example hot and cold, or atsui and sumitai for beverages, or verbs like yasumu, meaning taking a rest at a bench, or related nouns, or even onomatopoeia. And all these can also aid the memorization process, but I doubt you'll learn the phrases itself or how to use them. The game doesn't teach you grammar. You can read a lot of sentences on bulletin boards or posters. The game has this little translation feature for you, but the game doesn't explain the structure of a sentence to you. Like I said, this game won't teach you Japanese on its own. It's more so a good and fun little exercise in addition to a more serious language learning program. It's a game for those already in love with the land of Japan, already interested in and at least a little bit familiar with some of its cultural aspects. Because, if anything else, this game is a homage to the Japanese aesthetic. Everything in this little game world is a meticulous recreation of Japanese urban design. The tight alleyways ending in tiny backstreet parking lots, vending machines on every corner, with even realistic costs for beverages, as far as I can tell. The design of post boxes, the small and not at all stylish cars, the little park surrounded by streets, the game center and maid cafe, the business towers, the comic art on every shop and restaurant, no matter how reputable they're supposed to be. I've been here, even though this is a completely made up town, because the designers were that devoted to capturing the feeling of urban Japan. The only thing that doesn't reflect reality is the amount of garbage bins. It's really hard to find one in Tokyo if you need one. But yeah, as a love letter to Japan, I can definitely recommend this little edutainment experience. As a language learning software, well, it's fun but not that deep. Don't expect to come out of it speaking fluent Nihongo. The amount of words isn't even that big, though you can discover quite a few things and the game rewards you for being observant.
Show.
By proving your knowledge or memorization ability or whatever, you can also unlock filters for your camera, and while this is certainly a nice addition, the photography mechanic in this game isn't deep enough to really warrant it. You can't even snap random pics. You have to photograph an object that the game recognizes. But it's fun for what it is. I certainly don't regret my purchase, though I have to say, for what the game offers, $20 with an additional €6 DLC for some extra camera filters is a bit much. The game world isn't that big, and while it's certainly detailed and had a lot of care put into it, half the price, €15 tops, would have been enough. And drop the DLC. I really like this game, but I do think it's just a tiny bit too expensive for most people not to feel ripped off. If you're not madly in love with the Japanese culture, wait for a discount. And with that, I'm off. I wish you the greatest of days. This has been Rady and, well, mata ne.